All right, third hour Clan Buck kicks off now. Our friend Ryan Girdusky joins us. He is the host on the Clan Buck Podcast Network of It's a Numbers Game. He does the deep dive, nerdiness, numbers analysis that you need to know to understand the politics of this country right now. Our friend Ryan Girdusky is with us. Mr. Girdusky, thanks for making the time. Let's start with some of these numbers. I'm seeing some interesting stuff out of New Jersey. Now, you're a Northeast guy like me. The idea of Republicans even being competitive in New Jersey seems like it's too good to be true. What are the numbers telling us about this? And Clay's, one of his favorite candidates is Chitterelli. So how's this all looking?
I've got us on FCC watch because I can't pronounce his name correctly, Ryan. So just be aware.
So let's go over some background information to begin with. Democrats start off with an 860,000 voter advantage in the Garden State. Now, you may say, Ryan, that's a lot of voters. Yes, but it is down significantly from November 2021, the last time Jack Chitterelli ran for governor. Republicans in the last 4 years since the last governor's election have gained 162,000 new voters, while Democrats have lost 47,000 voters in an election that Chitterelli lost by only 84,000 votes. If you look at the polls, first off with the polls, there were 7 polls recently. Overall, Mickey Sherrill, the Democratic nominee, has led in 5 of them, averaging a lead of 5.5 points. But the last 2 polls by accredited pollsters that have come out said that Chitterelli is either tied or winning. A national research poll, which was funded by his campaign, so it's an internal campaign number, has him leading by a point and is up by 21 points. Normally, internal polling, obviously, they slant things towards their candidate. But Emerson, which has been on a roller coaster streak of good polling lately, they came out with a poll just today finding the race tied. And they also said that Chitterelli is leading by 26 points among independents. So there's consistency there. It's not all good news because the group of undecided voters overwhelmingly lean Democrat, a lot of minorities, a lot of women. The problem for Mickey Sherrill is this. Minority voters in urban New Jersey do not like her. They voted overwhelmingly against her in and in the primary. She comes from a small town where the median income is well over $150,000 a year, and she had a disastrous interview on The Breakfast Club where she couldn't describe how she made $7 million in profit selling stocks, which she was fined for because she was selling while she was on the House appropriations for military contracts. That has been a huge, huge problem. Democrats are freaked out. They've spent an additional $1.5 million on this race, $25 million in total. Internals are showing that she is not in a strong place, and that's where they're putting all their hands on deck.
Okay. So a couple of things, Ryan, and I know some of you from New Jersey are going to know this, but I actually think it got snowed under. Trump lost New Jersey by about 5 points. He lost Virginia by about 5 points. That's where both of the governor's races that are going to be happening in about 6 weeks are taking place. Ryan, the Trump team believes that if they had had Kamala Harris money, that is, they could have just sprayed money everywhere like Kamala did, that they could have won in Virginia. They could have won in New Jersey. Do you buy it? And do we know if the current candidates in New Jersey and Virginia, are they competitive enough with dollars to spend coming down the stretch run here, as a lot of people that are not political obsessives become aware these governor's races are going on?
Well, it's great you mentioned Trump. So there's an inverse problem happening between New Jersey and Virginia. In Virginia, Winsome Sears, the Republican nominee, is trying to nationalize this election. She is making this specifically about trans girls playing biological female sports. It is her number one issue. She is talking about it consistently and is what her ads are focusing on. Inversely, in New Jersey, the Democrat, Mickey Sherrill, is making this entire election about Trump. Just today, there was a news-breaking story a little while ago that she was not allowed to walk in the U.S. Naval Academy commencement speech because she cheated 130 times in her class. It implicit 130 people. She cheated and she could not walk in her graduation.
Hold on, let me rephrase that, Ryan, because I think it was a little bit. I think she was part of a group of 130
Correct.
people that was accused of cheating on tests that were not allowed to walk. Not she
Correct.
cheated 130 times. I mean,
Sorry,
I think the Naval
yeah.
Academy would probably say, hey, I don't know what the number is, but I think you get kicked out for that.
My apologies. I screwed up. Yes, that is true. She was with 130 people. So she has made this election about Trump. She blamed Jack Ciattarelli for this story coming out, saying he's part of the Trump cabal to release information. Jack Ciattarelli is focused specifically on affordability and electricity costs. Electricity costs are the number one issue in both Virginia and New Jersey's election, incidentally enough. Electricity costs are skyrocketing in both places. The difference between New Jersey and Virginia is the elasticity of the electorate. So Virginia's electorate, because it is much blacker, and blacks in America have a lower level of they move far less than Hispanics or whites do. It is there's less elasticity for the Republicans to make big gains. The question is, do they show up at all? There's also a lot of quote unquote awfuls, which is like angry white female liberals. There's a lot more in Virginia, and there's a lot of people angry over the Elon cuts to federal jobs. New Jersey doesn't have that problem, and Ciattarelli has been more centralized on the affordability question and on the tax question. Cheryl had an absolutely abominable debate performance where she would not commit to not raising taxes in the middle class, and she would not explain once again how she made $7 million on a stock trade. Those clips went viral. It's been very, very bad. Everything that is breaking in someone's favor is Ciattarelli. Ciattarelli's campaign in the last 45 days have reminded me more of Glenn Youngkin than Winsome Sears. Winsome Sears is really just trying to get the Trump base out, and she's had a mixed record on having that ability.
Can you break down for us a little bit, Ryan? I thought that was really interesting, and I'd seen some headlines around this. The skyrocketing electricity price, as that's generally not something you think of as a top election issue at the state level, but that is in two different states in these two critical governors' races. I think it's very interesting. Part of it, as I understand it, is data center usage and essentially places getting ready for AI or wanting to be more part of the AI race and also to store all this data online. Part of it is natural gas prices. So there's a few things coming into it. But how are the various campaigns handling this? Because I always think it's so funny. The Democrats, their only idea for how to make electricity prices less expensive involve finding more expensive forms of electricity like solar. I mean, I don't know what they think they're going to do. So how's that playing out?
Right. So it is the number one issue in both New Jersey and Virginia. And data centers are the main culprit. Data centers take about 25% of Virginia's electricity. 1 in 4. They've added about 20 million homes using power through data centers. In New Jersey, data centers are responsible for 70% of the increased prices in electricity. Jack Ciattarelli is talking about having tax cuts for the middle class and about trying to have more not alternative in the form of solar, but really looking at increasing natural gas subsidies or anything he can to sit there and try to get prices lower through using taxes in the state. Abigail Spanberger over in Virginia, she's actually the only candidate running statewide who has pointed to data centers and saying we need to figure out how to deal with this increase in the cost of electricity through data centers. And she's the one who's pointed the finger. Winsome Sears really hasn't spoke about data centers or electricity prices nearly as much, focusing much more on national issues to try to really drive out lower propensity voters. And I have a number on that. Virginia does not have party registration like New Jersey does. So you're not a registered Republican or registered Democrat. But among modeling companies that model whether you're likely to be a Republican or a Democrat, Republicans have done a much better job at turning out people who have either never voted and are likely Republicans or only voted once in the last 4 elections than Democrats have. So if that's her game plan by bringing out low propensity voters, it's showing a little bit of traction. But Democrats outside of Richmond and in the northern part of the state and the Nova outside of D.C. are really turning out like gangbusters, especially in the Richmond suburbs.
Let's go to the New York City mayor's race because a lot of our WOR listeners are plugged in on this, Ryan. We still haven't gotten any movement from anyone to drop out, whether it's Eric Adams, Curtis Sliwa, Andrew Cuomo. And as I'm looking right now at Polymarket, they have an 87% chance that Mamdani is elected mayor. Is there any reason right now in your mind to expect any kind of movement there, or have you kind of resigned yourself to Mamdani is going to be the next New York City mayor?
Mamdani's going to be the next city mayor unless Eric Adams and Curtis Lee would drop out. I mean, and we've had more polling out of New York City than either Virginia or New Jersey at this point. Pollsters love polling New York. It's an interesting race. The problem is in this fractured field, it needs to be a head-on-head competition, and all pollsters agree a head-to-head competition between Cuomo and Mamdani shows a competitive race, and we don't know who would win. But Cuomo has run one of the most god-awful campaigns I could imagine. He's made no concessions to Republicans to try to win them over whatsoever. And Eric Adams is still hanging around or at 7 or 8%, mostly among Jewish and black voters who would otherwise be voting for Cuomo. So it's really been some of the worst campaigning I've ever seen, especially from Cuomo. And Curtis Lee had essentially no campaign aside from going the same 5 places over and over and over again. He's polling somewhere in the low to mid-teens, and it's really kind of fizzled out. So,
okay, do you buy? Buck and I have kind of debated this that Mamdani could have an impact in the 2026 midterms if he is the face of the Democrat Party, or do you think he's really not that well known outside of New York City? What is his impact? Let's say he wins. Obviously, he's not a citizen. I mean, born American citizen. So he's not eligible to run, for instance, for president, thankfully, sadly, given how much support he has among Democrats. Does he have national resonance next year in your mind if he wins in New York City or not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a reason why Fox News is the only one who covers his speeches live. And they don't do it for any New York City politician. I mean, the Republicans desperately want to make him the face, which is why Hakeem Jeffries still won't endorse him, despite Kathy Hochul endorsing him. And it'll be a big question going into 2026 if they sit there and try to play spoiler. Mamdani made a comment saying, I'm not promising to re-endorse Kathy Hochul or any other Democrat. So they very much want to play. And I spoke to some Democratic consultants who are very, very smart. And the question they said this. It is not a question of if, like an AOC or Mamdani type of person will be the Democratic nominee in 2028. It's a matter of when. It is just a matter of timing. All the movement is on the progressive side, and they are absolutely going to make Mamdani the face of it. And he is, he's charming to some people. He's charismatic to some people. He does have some political ability that I do notice, but his policies are absolutely insane, especially around policing, and especially in the Northeast, is going to be very problematic for Democrats.
So is it your view that he will be as insane as we are worried he will be if he becomes the mayor of New York? Like, will he actually do these policies, or is this just to get the sizzle going, but he'll have to deal with the reality of trying to govern 8.5 million people?
Well, he has limitations because the governor has a lot of control over New York City. So it's not like he's the president or the king of the city. There are certain things that he can do that I expect him to do on day one. He also has the problem the federal government is going to be breathing down his neck on certain issues. Like the idea that he's going to be able to kick ICE agents out of the city is just not realistic whatsoever. On certain things, he's going to be pretty horrific. On other things, he can't fulfill half of those promises because he doesn't have the ability or the wherewithal to do so. So, I mean, I think that he's going to be a worse mayor than Bill de Blasio, but I mean, that's what's happening right now in New York.
Go check out It's a Numbers Game. Comes out every week on the Clay and Buck Podcast Network. Ryan Girdusky is the excellent host. Ryan, thanks for breaking it all down for us. Great stuff.
Thank you.
If you have a lot of memories stored on videotape, Super 8 film reels, or in print photos, you want to get them preserved digitally. The best way to do that safely is with our sponsor, Legacy Box, an American company based in Tennessee. Legacy Box digitally transfers all your old media over a dozen different formats into digital files that you can easily watch, share, and post whenever you want. This is an amazing gift, too. If someone you know has boxes of old tapes, give them the gift of opening a time capsule and get them digitized with Legacy Box. Imagine Thanksgiving with family gathered and surprising them with all those old memories long forgotten on VHS that's collecting dust. Legacy Box will not only bring those old memories to life, but also preserve them for future generations to come. Legacy Box has done this for 1.5 million families to date. Those families have relied on Legacy Box to carefully handle their saved photos, video, film, and more. And everything gets returned to you afterwards, along with those brand new digital files. It's a great process. Visit legacybox.com/buck today and unlock 50% off your order. That's legacybox.com/BUCK.